I was afraid it would come to us.
It has started. The Russian Federation is turning into scorched earth. If only it would fall, that's what he wants.
Fall.
Well, something like it fell. Over there, probably.
He is currently moving in a continuous manner at this very moment.
He's standing right here.
There's no light. This is the only gas station out of the entire NFC that we came to. Here you can refuel, and there's nowhere else around.
A sensation. The Ukrainian armed forces hit the jackpot right on Russian territory. The enemy's rear is in ruins. The drones picked up incredible speed. Ukrainian missiles broke through. Now Putin can't escape. Epic footage is already online. Incredible. Flamingos, Neptunes, Hell, and Storm Shadow delivered a devastating strike. The Kremlin shook, the lights went out, the gas was cut off, and the fuel supplies ran out. The Russians are begging for even more strikes. What a disaster this is. A series of fierce sabotage acts. The Russian railway is paralyzed. Something terrible has started in Moscow. Greetings, I'm Darya Hutskalo, and in our episode of Red Line, we'll cover all the explosive events. Watch until the end. It's begun. Russia has been struck by a catastrophe of unprecedented scale. Strikes at full volume. Russian air defense is firing at residential buildings. Angry people are calling for strikes.
On the historic Kremlin. Whoa.
Meanwhile, our forces are not sleeping. Ukrainian drones have finally broken through deep into Russia's rear. Each time, a new record for accuracy is set. They managed to carry out destruction 1,400 kilometers from Ukraine. The Republic of Moldova, Navuka,
Drones attacked the Republic of Moldova, which is in the Russian Federation. One of the industrial enterprises there was damaged.
There.
the capital of Moldova is falling apart right before our eyes. The explosive news is pouring in one after another. Panic is everywhere. Videos of the devastating strikes are spreading across the internet literally every minute. Public pages instantly leaked where the drones were targeting. All the cards are on the table.
The city is home to the optic fiber systems plant, which has already been attacked before. A few kilometers away are the Saransk mechanical plant and the Saranska Beloptica enterprise.
And then, under pressure, the Saransk mechanical plant couldn't withstand the strike. This enterprise specializes in manufacturing equipment and components for various industries, primarily for the machine building and partially for the defense industry. It seems the drones didn't make a mistake with their target. This particular target received a warm greeting. There is also anxiety in Dagestan. Drones broke through there as well. The locals are trying to fend off the attacks with automatic weapons. Panic is spreading. This chaos on enemy territory is worth seeing.
And this one, they might be able to shoot down, circling around. It's much bigger than those small ones. There it goes, making its approach. Take that. There we go. More drones. One exploded.
A fierce blow seized the refinery in Makachkala. Dagnotech is located more than 1,200 kilometers from the front line, and its capacity reaches up to 2.5 million tons per year. It seems that's all in the distant past now.
If it really wants to fall, then it will fall after all.
The local authorities reacted immediately. However, it's no longer possible to hide what everyone is talking about. All they managed to do was pretend that the situation was under control, that it all ended with just a scare.
At present, there are no reports of casualties or injuries. Information about the destruction is being clarified. Relevant services are working at the scene, and all government bodies are operating in emergency headquarters mode. All necessary measures are being taken to ensure the safety of citizens and facilities.
The sky, which was once safe, now brings Russians to their knees. Aviation instantly became unnecessary to anyone.
Temporary flight restrictions have been introduced at the airports of Vladikavkaz and Grozny, according to Rosaviatsia. Previously, the airports in Kaluga, Krasnodar, Pskov, Yaroslavl, Leningrad region, and Penza were not operating in Russia.
However, it's not surprising that the Russians are afraid, panicking over the entire armed forces of Ukraine and launching their entire arsenal of weapons. Not just drones, ballistics are hitting right at the heart of Russia. Russian propagandists are not holding back their emotions.
The attacks are being carried out using missiles. Peklo, Flamingo, Storm Shadow, Scalp, Neptune, HIMARS missiles with UAVs and other unidentified rockets.
Here is a report on our forces from the General Staff of Ukraine. Storm Shadow strike footage. The strike broke through enemy air defense, turning a major target into ruins.
Well, something kind of fell there, probably smoke. It'll come out there. Well, not necessarily. Well, it was somewhere nearby.
The Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with the ground forces, the Navy, and other components of Ukraine's defense forces, struck the Bryansk chemical plant.
The drones finished the job. A mega attack on the substation. Bryansk region felt the force of the strike. Blackout in action. The region was left without electricity. The enemy is adapting.
There's no power at all, none whatsoever. The gas station is completely shut down, the pipeline is not working, and everything, absolutely everything is down. Do you see where the line is coming from? It's truly unbelievable, almost impossible to believe, isn't it?
And on top of that, darkness also covered the Smolensk region. The thermal power plant couldn't withstand it. It seems not only the Russian energy sector relaxed, but the railway as well. 2 acts of sabotage at once, and as a result, hellish news.
On October 20th, at the locomotive depot of the station, Cherepovets-Vologda region, a Russian citizen, a so-called good person, set fire to an electric locomotive. Apparently, he was just dissatisfied with his job at Russian railways.
It seems Moscow got hit as well. The building of the Belarusian railway station in the capital, from which train movements are coordinated, caught fire completely. Something is really happening for real. A fierce tsunami of problems is sweeping over Russia. The catastrophe is already breathing down the Kremlin's neck. It's simply impossible to hide it. A fuel crisis has engulfed the entire Russian Federation. The scale is growing by the hour.
From October 13th to 19th, Bashkiria, Yaroslavl Oblast, Tuva, and Ulyanovsk were added to the map of shortages.
Siberia has caught fire. The map of Russia is lighting up red. The situation is critical. The European part of the Russian Federation is exploding in chaos. Prices are skyrocketing, lines at gas stations are endless, and panic is mounting. People are frantically buying up fuel. This is
The only gas station out of all the anti-local. We came here, and here you can actually fill up, not just stand around somewhere.
And those who did manage to find at least a drop of gasoline were in for a shock. Chinese cars are breaking down en masse. Low-quality fuel is killing engines right on the go.
Several dozen vehicles. Geely cars from the 2025 model year in Russia broke down due to engine failures. Some drivers lost control right while driving. Geely Motors stated that the reason is the level of oxidants in Russian gasoline, which Chinese models are not adapted to.
In such a reality of life in Russia, factories are burning and the surviving fuel tankers crash on the road. One already didn't make it. Another accident amid total panic. And meanwhile, yet another blow. After a massive drone attack, the Orenburg gas processing plant has been paralyzed. It no longer accepts gas from Kazakhstan.
An emergency commission was convened in Orenburg. According to official Orenburg sources, there are no serious consequences. The gas processing plant simply stopped working. That's all.
The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed this was our operation. The drones performed flawlessly.
The Orenburg gas processing plant is one of the largest gas processing complexes in Russia and is capable of processing up to 45 billion cubic meters of natural gas and 6.2 million tons of gas condensate oil per year. According to preliminary information, one of the gas processing and purification units was hit.
A blow to Putin's pride. The Novokubishevsk oil refinery in Samara is on fire. Just yesterday they were boasting about it, and today there's only ash and smoke.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
The drone struck without mercy. The Kremlin's power crumbled like a house of cards. Everyone should see these shots.
Kapitz, what's up, Zaruf? Was he there? And what's up?
Look around and listen carefully.
Trash. Our guys hit the jackpot. The enemy is in deep crisis, and this is just the beginning.
The plant produces more than 20 types of commercial products, and its annual primary processing volume is 4.9 million tons. According to preliminary information, the primary oil processing units were hit.
Russians are filming farewell videos. There's panic, fire, and screams. This is the real Russian world.
He's still standing over there, but here it's like this. Smoke gang, let me tell you, ow.
Smoke gang. Shock in Russia, total collapse. Factories are shutting down one after another. The economy is falling apart before our eyes. This is a triumph for the armed forces of Ukraine. Meanwhile, our soldiers are sweeping the enemy from their positions, leaving the occupiers no chance. Trump is loudly announcing new ultra-powerful weaponry. And France and Germany are going even further. Another country is joining the air defense coalition. You will be shocked when you hear all the details coming up.
It was a restless night in Bataysk, Rostov region. Good drones reached there as well. On the night of
October 21st.
It is reported that Bataysk is a major railway and sorting hub. But what's even more interesting is that now the Russians themselves are suggesting where Ukrainian drones should fly.
Guys, the Kremlin isn't here. You need to hit the Kremlin. You mixed up the coordinates.
And the largest Orenburg gas processing plant and Novokubishevsk oil refinery completely halted operations after the Ukrainian drone attack. Although in Russia itself they say something different.
In Orenburg, it's a classic case. The Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations denied the fire at the gas plant and immediately sent firefighters there to put out the blaze. The truth has long been banned in Russia. When everything is burning, well, it feels like everything is calm.
And the plants clearly won't be up and running again anytime soon. After all, as reported, restoration work will not begin before the start of November.
So what's the main objective? To paralyze as much as possible, to paralyze as many energy facilities of the Russian Federation as possible, to create an imbalance, for example, to take out as many facilities as possible in the central part of the Russian Federation, which is exactly what's happening now. These are the most critical substations so that facilities located in other regions of the Russian Federation experience oversaturation so that they become overloaded.
Minus 13 occupiers. Special Operations Forces fighters infiltrated behind the front line and destroyed enemy positions. Trump announced a new secret weapon.
There is a weapon that many people don't even know about. I started working on it 4 years ago.
Of course, Trump couldn't help but emphasize the United States' superiority over China, in particular when it comes to military technologies.
The United States has a lot of developments, a wide variety of military branches, and all sorts of projects at different stages of implementation. Some are already in the final stages, some are in the middle, and some are only being planned on paper. Thanks to the power of the US economic superiority, they have, once again, many potential different developments. But scale is an issue. They can produce 1 or 2 prototypes and boast that they already have them. But here the question is about quantity.
Meanwhile, as Russian drones continue to violate European airspace, the Chancellor of Germany announced the creation of a federal unit for combating drones and a center for protection against UAVs.
It's a good sign that at least something is being done in Europe to counter the Russian threat. Because no one knows what to do about the Russian drone, but here at least some steps have been taken. How they will be implemented, when they will be implemented, how quickly, how effectively, remains to be seen, but in any case, it's a positive. This shows that they understand, they recognize the threat, they realize that right now they don't have the resources.
Meanwhile, the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs has announced that Ukraine will receive a loan from the EU to purchase defense equipment over the next 3 years.
But let's be honest, Putin's presence on the territory of the European Union only makes sense if it leads to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. Moreover, Vladimir Putin is interested in adopting the principle of an immediate ceasefire because time is working against him.
Plus, there's one more country joining the Perlu program. Previously, Italy had refrained from participating and had its reasons for doing so. But now, the country's position has been revised.
Perhaps when Italy first refused to participate in this program, they thought that this project would not succeed, that it wasn't viable, that it wouldn't last, and overall, that it was complete nonsense. But upon closer inspection, it turned out that it would succeed, and it is being funded. Interesting developments are emerging. The countries participating in these developments gain access to technology and exchange data with Ukraine. And apparently, some kind of parity has been established in Italy.
Russia continues to strike peaceful Ukrainian cities. On the night of October 21st, 6 Russian missiles hit Kharkiv. It is known that 11 people were injured. In Kherson, 3 people were injured as a result of a drone attack. And after a drone raid, Chernihiv was left completely without electricity and water.
At this very moment, it's an apocalypse in Donbass. The Russian army is drowning in blood, an incredible battle that has become a nightmare for the occupiers. The enemy was simply ground to dust. Pokrovsk has become a grave for Putin's army. Watch on for shocking details.
The battles for Pokrovsk have been raging for over a year. During this time, the occupying army has broken all its teeth but still hasn't taken the city. It's just a stone's throw from here to the end of the southern border in Donetsk region. The Pokrovsk direction is a priority for Putin. He has transferred 120,000 soldiers of his occupying army here.
On the Pokrovsk direction, the occupiers have changed their tactics of conducting combat operations. We're talking about the use of mechanized columns. In the assault on the AFU positions, such tactics haven't been observed for the past several months, up to half a year. Moreover, it is noted that the change in tactics is primarily related to the change in weather conditions. In other words, the occupiers believe that the rainy autumn weather will significantly reduce the activity of Ukrainian FPV drones.
Since August of this year, Ukraine's defense forces have not only managed to successfully protect Pokrovsk and the neighboring settlements. Ukrainian defenders have bravely liberated nearly 183 settlements.
The forces managed to secure several square kilometers of territory, successfully bringing these areas under their control. In addition, they cleared another 230 square kilometers of enemy presence, ensuring that these regions were made safe and free from hostile forces. Accordingly, to say that in the near historical perspective, the occupiers will be able to take full control of the Pokrovsk agglomeration, at this moment, there are no main grounds for such claims.
In addition, Ukrainian fighters have neutralized at least 13,945 Russian invaders. Of these, 8,402 are irrecoverable losses, 5,419 wounded and 124 captured. The occupiers have also lost nearly 1,300 units of equipment and weaponry.
In other words, this is about the use of the so-called attrition tactics, not constantly. The occupiers are well aware that out of all that armored equipment, not just tanks, but also IFVs, APCs, at most only about 20% will actually reach the positions of Ukraine's defense forces. And accordingly, the same proportion applies to the landing force, meaning the manpower. The occupiers are using this tactic primarily to solve a complex political problem. It's not even about a military challenge. The Russian dictator needs to demonstrate to the United States before the start of the negotiation process in Hungary the presence of tactical successes by the occupation army.
Despite losses and a shortage of personnel, in recent days an enemy sabotage and reconnaissance group managed to penetrate into the center of Pokrovsk. Local public pages report that during their advance, the Russians resorted to violating international humanitarian law and killed city residents. This happened in the area of the railway station. One woman was miraculously saved by a local resident. Unfortunately, the occupiers are increasingly using the residents of Pokrovsk as human shields or simply shooting unarmed people right on the streets of their own city. However, Ukrainians are bravely holding the defense and destroying the enemy even as they approach Pokrovsk. In this video, you see the defenders of Pokrovsk. With a single FPV drone, they neutralized 10 occupiers at once who were moving at night in a truck near Salidov. The enemy continues to look for weak spots and probe the Ukrainian defense in Mirnohrad Pokrovsk district. A small group of occupiers broke into the city but was immediately
of the armed forces of Ukraine. The average life expectancy of a Russian assault trooper here is about 12 days.
The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, is convinced that Russia is not interested in developing the occupied areas of Donbas and will use the captured territories solely for showy events under the slogan, "We won the war." In addition, the commander-in-chief stated that Ukraine wants to end the war justly and securely.
What, and more importantly, when will finally bring Russia down? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button under the video, and stay up to date with the main news. There's more to come. See you soon.